Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you are able for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the invocation by Chaplain McCall and the playing of the national anthem.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for today. God, thank you for the time you've given us to honor and to celebrate the life and the contributions of CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson. Father, today we ask that you would be present in this ceremony and that you would use this time to bless Chief Wilson's family and herself as she continues to invest in this community and all those you bring across her path. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Oh, I'm sorry. As you were, please stand. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good morning, Colonel McHugh, Colonel Retired O'Brien, Mayor Cooper, Colonel Lee, CW5 Retired Wilson, Cheryl Larimore, honored members of the Eagle Rising Society, Command Chief Warrant Officers of the branches, and distinguished guests, family and friends joining us here or virtually. On behalf of our host, Colonel Kevin E. McHugh, Commandant of the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, welcome to this year's Eagle Rising Society induction ceremony in honor of CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson. Joining us today is CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson and Colonel James O'Brien, United States Air Force retired, Executive Vice President and COO of the Military Officers Association of America. Colonel McHugh will begin this morning's induction ceremony with opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for Colonel McHugh.
I was getting ready to roll without it. It's going to be okay. Good morning, everyone. Mayor Cooper, Cheryl, thank you, ma'am, for being here today. Previous Eagle Rising Society inductees, other W5s, thank you all for being here today. Family and friends, good morning, and thanks for making time to share in this incredibly special event. This is the third ceremony I have been afforded the honor and privilege to host. Again, this event established in 2004, many years ago, 21 years ago to be precise, with a great partner, the Military Officers Association of America. Each year, we come together to recognize, honor, and thank one extraordinary professional, a warrant officer that has spent a career and years beyond focused on consistent and dedicated support to the Army, the betterment of the cohort, and all those they may encounter. One who has consistently set the example through their presence and conduct so others can follow. One with a demonstrated competence, character, and unwavering service to others. One who demonstrates the highest of standards in both personal and professional growth. Again, this is the third year of being a part of this great ceremony, and this year's panel had no easy task due to no shortage of phenomenal talent. However, first I want to thank all those that took the time to recommend such phenomenal leaders that came forward as applicants or possible inductees. But of all of them, one applicant clearly stood above the rest. The warrant officer selected as the annual inductee and newest member to this prestigious Eagle Rising Society is, as was mentioned, CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson. Ma'am, thank you for being here this morning, and more importantly, for all you have done over your 37 plus years of service, knowing you don't rest. Thanks for all you continue to do in support of so many. So thank you, ma'am, for being here today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, no stranger himself to dedicated and long-term service to others, Colonel Retired Jim O'Brien of the U.S. Air Force, and as mentioned, current Executive Vice President and COO for the Military Officers Association of America. Quickly on MOA, an organization that stands next to, and when needed, in front of our military service members and their families. So I really wanted to take a minute just to thank MOA, the representatives, the leadership. This is a long-term partnership that we could not do. It would not be the event it is without their support and dedication. So quick round of applause to MOA, please. So our guest today hails from Peabody, Massachusetts, a lifelong learner himself. He has several degrees that he has achieved in pursuit of his own personal and professional development. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Norwich University and additionally holds 2 master's degrees, the first in systems management from the University of Southern California and his second in strategic studies from the Air War College. He is also a senior executive fellow from Harvard University, John F. Kennedy School of Government. If that wasn't enough, during his 25-year military career, Colonel O'Brien has served in a variety of financial management positions across all levels of the Air Force, also serving in 4 command positions. Colonel O'Brien was awarded with numerous prestigious awards throughout his career, including being recognized by the Honolulu Pacific Executive Board as the Military Officer of the Year serving the Pacific Theater. He culminated his military service in uniform as a comptroller for the Air Force Reserve. Today, Colonel O'Brien continues his legacy of service to the military as a senior leader with the Military Officers Association of America. Over the last decade, he has served in various supporting roles, and his current position is as Executive Vice President and the current Operations Officer, 2IC. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome back to the stage to assist us in today's induction, a seasoned leader and friend. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Jim O'Brien.
Good morning. What an absolute honor to be with you this morning. I'd like to welcome Mayor Cooper, obviously the distinguished visitors, of course, our distinguished award recipient, Phyllis Wilson, and her sister, and as I said, previous winners, and all our distinguished guests. It is so refreshing to be in such a patriotic part of our country. You can just feel it when you come here. And I came last night and had dinner with our local chapter of MOA, which is just doing such important work in the community, and we're just so proud of our 350,000 members in our association. And I think many of you may know this, but we represent all 8 uniformed services. And also, we're very proud as one of our cohorts to have the warrant officer community in our membership. We like to say that we're 350,000 members of officers, but we're not about officers. We're an association that cares about all ranks, all services, and we do that through a variety of reasons, but primarily through the protection of earned benefits. And you've seen some of the achievements that we've had that impact all of us, and it takes all of us to get these things over the goal line. This year we had the largest enlisted pay raise, junior enlisted pay raise in 40 years for those E4 and below. You've seen some of the most impactful toxic exposure legislation in over 50 years, as well as some very important survivor benefits for those of you who are familiar with the injustices for widows that had SBP offsets. We've had so many very important successes as an association, and we really attribute that to people in the communities, to people that work with us. We can't do it all in Washington, D.C. by ourselves, and so we're very thankful to get out and to recognize excellence and to get to be part of communities like this and recognize leaders like you that make such a difference in the community. We've been supporting this award, I think, as was mentioned, this is our 21st year, and I think it's grown every year in our recognition that warrant officers really improve the expertise and skills necessary for mission accomplishment in some of the most turbulent times we've had in our history. As I mentioned, we focus on the soldiers because we think that's the one weapon system that has never failed our nation, and there's a continuum of service, and it's those that have served, those that are serving today, and those who will serve in the future that will keep our nation strong and keep our all-volunteer force successful like it has for over 50 years. And how is an all-volunteer force successful for 50 years? It's successful because you have dedicated leaders like Phyllis Wilson, Chief Warrant 5, Phyllis Wilson, who served 37 years as a military intelligence soldier at all echelons from tactical to strategic. And when I read all of the accomplishments on her bio, I just have to pause and just say, wow, you are in the presence of greatness here. And so bear with me as I list some of the things that really stand out. She's really a first in so many areas. Chief Wilson has been inducted in the Army Women's Foundation Hall of Fame on Capitol Hill in 2017. She was inducted into the U.S. Veterans Hall of Fame in 2022. She's the first Army warrant officer to be a member of the Board of Directors of the Association of the United States Army. That's quite an accomplishment, and I'm sure she's very proud of that. In 2022, she was appointed by the Secretary of Defense, at that time Lloyd Austin, to the Reserve Forces Policy Board. And the former Secretary of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable David Shulkin, invited Chief Wilson to join the Policy Vets Board of Directors in 2020. Government agencies, Congress, state legislators, veterans organizations, community-based organizations, or other companies ask policy vets for input from knowledgeable stakeholders on specific policy issues. So these are things that impact all of us, and you can see that her 37 years have been all about enhancing our community, our military community. She is the first warrant officer to win the George C. Marshall Center's Program on Advanced Security Studies Capacity Building, which is the Marshall Center's flagship resident program in Garmisch, Germany. For those who've been in Garmisch, Germany, it's a beautiful place, and that's quite an impressive accomplishment. She currently serves as the president of the Military Women's Memorial and Foundation, the only national memorial chartered by Congress to honor and tell the stories of more than 3 million American women that have helped to defend the nation, from the Revolutionary War to the present day. In March 2020, she was named a Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace Power Player of the Week. Again, the accomplishments just are unbelievable. Her awards and decorations range from Legion of Merit, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Two Oak Leaf Cluster, the Joint Service Combination Medal, the Army Combination Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Iraq Medal, the Global War on Terrorism, Expeditionary and Service Medals, the Army Parachutist Badge, and the Army Staff Badge. Chief W5 Wilson holds 2 master's degrees, Management from Webster University, and a Master's in Public Administration from Excelsior University, 2 Bachelor's of Science degrees, nursing, she's a registered nurse, and liberal arts, sociology, and German, and 3 Associate of Science degrees. She also received a certificate in nonprofit management from Duke University, and she attended the Defense Language Institute for German and Spanish. So if you're all feeling you're not getting enough done in your lives, let's all get some motivation for how we can do better and be lifelong learners, because it is just mind-blowing. I have to be a little self-serving and mention that she is also a MOA Life member, so we are very, very thankful for that. And if I didn't mention, since I am getting this opportunity to speak to such a great audience and talk a little bit about MOA, I think the people in this room are very much about education. And MOA has a scholarship fund, and this year we'll be giving out $18 million in grants and interest-free loans to children of the military. And so these scholarships are eligible for children of the military, whether they're enlisted, officer, all ranks. So in November, we'll open up for the next school year. So I really encourage through word of mouth, if you've got college-age children, think about us, apply if you meet the criteria, which is a 3.0 grade point average in high school. We have a great program, and we'd love to get more of our young Americans into college and thriving so they can someday be like Chief Wilson in the future. It is my honor on behalf of MOA to present this award to Chief W5 Phyllis Wilson. Thank you.
At this time, Colonel McHugh is presenting Colonel Retired O'Brien with a gift to thank him for his words today and for helping the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College continue the Order of the Eagle Rising induction ceremony with the recognition and prestige it deserves. In addition to all of the amazing information that Colonel Retired O'Brien shared for CW5 retired Phyllis J. Wilson, her career included multiple CONUS and OCONUS assignments and deployments with Joint Special Operations Command. She served as the 5th Command Chief Warrant Officer of the United States Army Reserve from 2012 to 2015. During this time, she was a member of the Senior Warrant Officer Advisory Council and led efforts that impacted warrant officer policy. Her capstone assignment was serving as the Warrant Officer Senior Service Education Director at USAWAC, Fort Rucker, Alabama, as she wanted to pay it forward to the next generation of senior warrant officers. She is a life member of the United States Army Warrant Officer Association, member number 1918. Yes. In addition to her 2 master's degrees, she holds 2 Bachelor of Science degrees and 3 Associates of Science degrees. She also received a Certificate of Nonprofit Management from Duke University. She attended the Defense Language Institute for German and Spanish. And Colonel Retired O'Brien hit all the other points of her bio.
Couldn't help it. It was too impressive.
It was amazing, sir. It was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel McHugh and Colonel Retired O'Brien and CW5 Retired Wilson will now come forward and begin the induction ceremony. Established in 2004 as a joint venture between the Military Officers Association of America and the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, the Order of the Eagle Rising Society annually recognizes one individual who has contributed significantly to the promotion of the warrant officer community in ways that stand out in the eyes of the recipient's seniors, subordinates, and peers. These individuals must have demonstrated the highest standards of integrity, moral character, and displayed outstanding degree of professional competence, and have served the United States Army Warrant Officer community with distinction over a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now pay tribute to CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson as she is inducted into the Honorable Order of the Eagle Rising Society. At this time, if you are able, please rise. Therefore, appearing before a most arduous and discriminatory committee of tried and proven members, representative of the U.S. Army Warrant Officer community, and reflective of our cohort, be it known and declared that CW5 retired Phyllis Wilson was tested and found worthy of this distinguished recognition for her outstanding contributions to the Army community and the community of warrant officers, and is hereby inducted as the 27th member of the Order of the Eagle Rising Society. The golden brown medallion is embellished with the traditional warrant officer eagle and wreath, and the rich brown and gold of the ribbon are emblematic of the superior competence, character, and commitment for which each member of this order is renowned. So, too, the aforementioned individual embodied these qualities and represents excellence and service to the warrant officer cohort and to our Army. Therefore, the Commandant of the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, with the concurrence of the Military Officers Association of America, acknowledges that this patriot is indeed due special honor and respect for now and posterity. Given under my hand in Fort Rucker, Alabama, this 11th day of July, 2025, Colonel Kevin E. McHugh, Commandant, United States Army Warrant Officer Career College. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. In addition to the coveted medallion and the Eagle Rising Society Certificate of Induction, Mr. Randy Godfrey, the president of the Fort Rucker chapter of Military Officers Association of America, is presenting a check for $500. Also, CW5 retired Wilson's honored induction will be recognized with her name prominently displayed with her fellow Eagle Rising Society inductees at the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, Swatworth Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the latest inductee to the Honorable Order of the Eagle Rising Society. Miss Wilson, ma'am, the floor is yours.
27. On Saturday, July 5th, I was the hostess at the Military Women's Memorial in Washington, D.C. for Admiral Linda Fagan's retirement ceremony, the 27th Commandant of the Coast Guard, the first woman to be the Commandant of the Coast Guard. This week is bookended with 27s, and I think that's really incredible. I want to talk about a couple of warrant officers that changed my life and how I'm trying to make sure I'm changing other people's, like this young tack behind me, that she told me this morning. When I was the command chief, I was down here on one of our many visits to Fort Rucker, and I was carrying bullet pens. Many of you may recall I always had a pen made out of a bullet, made by a Gold Star father. And I presented, instead of a coin, a bullet pen to this young, at the time, very young warrant officer, and now a senior TAC. And she told me when she heard she had the opportunity to participate in this event, that pen had meant so much to her, and she carried it and kept it close by. You never know the difference you're going to make. But I can tell you, Bob Cooper, thank you for nominating me. Thank you for pushing me to give you more information that you needed that only I had. Because I thought, do it, just do it. If you're going to do it, you don't need me. No, you don't know, you know your story. We all know our story far better than many other people. And many of us, because we're not braggadocious, we don't share it out enough to tell people what we have done, what the Army has done for us. All those degrees, thank you, Uncle Sam. I joined the Army because I couldn't afford college on my own. All those degrees, Army. Those extra schools, Army. And then people that I met, even my very first assignment in 3rd Armored Division in the early 1980s, defending the Fulda Gap. Some of you guys still remember what that was. There was a warrant officer, I'm Intel, and there was an Intel warrant officer that had served in Vietnam. I arrived in 1982. He was now a W4, and he trained us hard because he knew what war was like. And he pushed us, but he saw something in me even then that is why I stand before you today. He wrote my letter of recommendation to become a warrant officer. And in there he wrote, if I could choose one person to replace me as I prepare to retire, it would be this young soldier. I refused to let him down And I so wish David Roberts was here today. But because of what he did, one time out of all the letters of recommendation I've ever written, one time, because you can only use it once, if I could choose one soldier to replace me, it would be that soldier. And I used it my one time. And I'm hopeful that that person feels compelled to pay it forward. So without people like Bob Cooper, Pete Hill, Barbara Carpenter, Celeste, I mean, there's so many in this room. Jeff, I see you all. Ron, you're way in the back there, and you have a chair. Your name is right up here by my sister. Smitty, thank you again. And the CASA program, the Civilian Aids to the Secretary of the Armies, has sort of been stepped down a bit right now, but our CASAs are so integral to what we do in the community. So Smitty, thank you for being here. And Tanya, thank you. Look, I'm not gonna pass out today. I might cry, but I'm not gonna pass out. Last year in January, I was speaking in Dothan in front of a big luncheon of AUSA. And I collapsed holding onto the podium and pulled it down on top of me. And I got to spend a couple of fun days at the hospital in Dothan. And I cannot believe the number of people that showed up. And you gotta know, you look pretty rough after a couple of days laying in a hospital bed. They all came in to make sure I was okay. Tanya even packed up my hotel room, put it all in my car, and brought my car over to the hotel, to the hospital, so when I was discharged, I could depart. The community that you have here in this area is incredible. And that's why Colonel McHugh, I'm gonna tell you publicly what he whispered while he was standing here. I'm welcome back here anytime at the Career College. So look out, I might actually take him up on that, Cheryl. We'll be in the neck of the woods, we could do that. But I can tell you one other person that I must not fail to say his name out loud. Don Hess. He is amazing. For those of us that know him, that knew him, he changed us. He helped start the Warrant Officers Association. He served with General Abrams in the early 1970s in the Pentagon and made sure that we actually were being codified, that we had opportunities for special education, that we understood our technical realm within this Army. There's so few of us, and I see the young ones in the back there. I'm telling you, you are our future. We need to know that every one of these warrant officers are properly trained and pushed hard. We can take it, and we have to push hard. The days when I got to advise Lieutenant General Jeff Talley, the Chief of the Army Reserve, when I got to advise General Mark Milley, I better know what I'm talking about. And if it comes out of our mouths as senior warrant officers, you better damn sure know what you're talking about. They rely on us, they trust us, and we can never break that faith. That's what the Eagle Rising Society is all about. We honor those that are actually standing tall, pushing hard, and never taking no for an answer, and even skipping on days when we're allowed to. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you.
On behalf of the United States Army Warrant Officer Career College, team, staff, and faculty, and the nominating committee of the Honorable Order of the Eagle Rising Society, we again extend our heartfelt thanks for your tremendous support, attendance today. The energy, time, and effort you expended to be here with us today is not taken for granted. Your sacrifice and support is indeed greatly needed and appreciated. On behalf of the Military Officers Association of America and the United States Warrant Officer Career College, best wishes to you all. Have a safe return to your destination. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the benediction.
Join me in prayer if you would. Heavenly Father, thank you once again for today, for the time you've given us to honor someone who is and continues to make such a great impact on this community. God, today, I just ask that you would let us go out inspired. Let us be challenged to invest in one another, and let us work together to all accomplish the great mission that you have set before us. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes today's ceremony. In honor of CW5 retired Wilson's induction, we will now have a cake cutting at Swatworth Hall, Building 5302, across the street. Travel safe.